Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt, and welcome back to Far Lands or Bust. We started the episode with not only the bark of Wolfie, but also a few other animal noises. The chicken and then the pig, oink. It was woof, chicken, pig, oink. Is basically what happened there. But oh, hello. You don't make a sound, and that is what makes you dangerous, Sir Creeps a lot? He's a rapper. So which way we gotta go? That way, directly into the creeper. Apply directly to the forehead. So let's start going this way, maybe up and to the right a little bit. Unless there's already a creeper up here. Nope, just that chicken. And let's continue with this episode 361 of Far Lands or Bust. That was only one block deep. Sometimes you get damage from jumping into one block deep of water, so I'll take a safe route here. But yeah, episode 361. Today is Wednesday, June 4th, 2014. And to be completely honest with you, I was a little bit worried in gathering my notes and questions and looking through the news. A little bit worried I wouldn't have anything to talk about in today's episode to start off. You know, aside from the questions, obviously, I get from the Child's Play charity donations, which, by the way, are at $2,393.61 over at farlandsbus.com. I was a little bit worried. There really hasn't been too much in the news that is really of too much concern to us as far as Far Lands or Bust or typical topics we talk about. What else do I have in my inventory that I don't need? Nothing at all. And, I was a little bit concerned. I'm like, there's not really... I mean, there's some space news. There's some planet they found that is kind of like Earth, but it's, like, 14 times as dense, and they didn't think that was possible, and then there's this and that and the other, but not really anything too special. But today is a day that did not turn out as I anticipated, and boy, do I have a little bit of a story about that. If you've been following me on the Twitters, which I fully recommend you do, Twitter is the social network of choice of Far Lands or Bust. It has the Wolfie seal of approval. My hill climbing skills, however, do not. There we go. And I had a little bit of a Twitter conversation because today... Wait, let's go back. Let's go back in time. If you remember, when was this? Back in March or so? We had a terrible winter here in Chicagoland, northern Illinois. And there was a whole series of events. We had a bunch of snow, and then it went down to like negative 17 degrees Fahrenheit, which is like, I don't know, what is that, negative 20 Celsius? I don't know. It's very cold, very, very cold, and then it would warm up and melt a little bit, and then it would get another a foot of snow, and then freeze, and then melt, and then really freeze, and anyway, all that culminated in the culmination and conglomeration of ice blocking the, I'm walking the wrong way. Well, we wanted to go a little bit north, and that we did. Nobody saw that. And basically, it stopped up and plugged up the gutters, and that causes what is known as an ice dam. Then, as the snow melts, it backs up the roof, and water gets through the roof. And I had a nice little waterfall coming down, mostly in my entryway to my abode here. I had to drill a bunch of holes in the ceiling to have the water flowing out. It's gallons and gallons of water. Things got quite scary when my office, the ceiling in my office started to leak. Not right above my computer or anything, but it was a concern enough that I did start to have a little bit of a panic attack. But anyway, that happened, and being as how I don't own the place I'm living in, I am not responsible, nor am I allowed to do my own work on the structure or the exterior, and this would be labeled under an exterior issue that has seeped into the interior. So I have been having to wait around for the association to send somebody out to fix the ceiling. All the drywall obviously got all nice and soggy and wet, and all the drill holes I had to put in it to drain it out, and some nice stains and whatnot. But yeah, to wait for that, and it took a while because they wanted to wait for all the snow to be gone, because the problem could just keep happening. And we actually got snow on like early May, not that much, but in early May, I think we got a little bit of snow. Not anything worrying about causing ice dams, but you get the picture of how crappy weather here is in Chicagoland. But finally was able to make an appointment, and I thought, they gave me the time that they would come today between 11 and 1, and like a cable company. But I kind of thought that they would come and they were going to look at what happened and then inspect the damage, I suppose, and then get back to the association with a quote or whatever. But no. One person came and took a look, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna start fixing. We're gonna do this now. I'm like, oh, okay. And I took to Twitter, because I've gone through this before. Whenever there's a contractor or a worker or a plumber, somebody doing something with the air conditioning or heating, or in this case, this drywall guy in the house doing work, I do not know what to do with myself. I don't want to sit there and observe and watch, because I'm sure that's annoying. And also, myself, I whenever I'm doing something, a job, a task, I don't really care for observers to the task, says the guy who's made a living out of other people watching him play video games. But there's that involved. I am quite inept and socially. Ooh, is this hanging? Oh no, it's not. It is supported underground. Kind of socially awkward. I don't do well with strangers or people I do not know. If I'm ever in a taxi or a limo or something, I'm not really one to strike up a conversation with the driver, and vice versa, and extra and whatnot. So I don't really know what to do as regards to that. And also, I don't like people talking to me when I'm doing a job. So I think I would be annoying to the guy if let's talk about subjects while he's trying to fix the ceiling. So I had a problem there, a little bit of an issue. I tend to, my go-to action of choice in that situation is to kind of hide in my own home, out of view, but within earshot, so I can still hear what's going on of the person doing the work. And I took to Twitter and was expressing my... Oops. Begone you. Expressing my awkwardness and flusteredness, and it took a while to do. He was here for maybe 3.5 hours. So yeah, I got here a little bit past 11 and didn't leave till 2-ish 30, 2:45 or something like that. And another part of the problem is some of the work had, like I said, there was leakage above on the ceiling in my office, so I couldn't. People were like, oh, play Minecraft, or oh, do a recording. Who cares if he's in the background? No, can't do that, because there's somebody on a ladder doing stuff with the drywall or whatever in my office. So the office was off limits. I did the dishes once. I just kind of stood around and pretended to organize things throughout the other rooms of my house. I got choked on my own saliva. Ooh. A single solitary pumpkin. So yeah, that's how I spent my time. And, everybody was saying, oh, you should, I got a lot of responses, and I'm assuming it's because of the early time at which I posted this onto Twitter. The people across the pond were still awake, so I got a lot of suggestions that I offer them tea and biscuits. Is that something you guys do? I don't Oh wow, this is kind of a cool place. There's all these little like caverns and chasms and craters, and that's a big old tree inside that one. This whole place seems a little dangerous for Wolfie, he says as he goes out to a further clip. Let's go up there further, a little bit forward. Careful, Wolfie, careful, Wolfie, careful, Wolfie, careful, Wolfie, careful, Wolfie. Careful, Kurt, jeez. Woo. Yep, I'm not gonna watch what's gonna happen back there, because that'd just be some bad news. There we go, he spawned. Alright, now let's make the elevated hidey hole. So yeah, people were like saying I should offer them tea? Or like, okay, well, if tea isn't the thing you Americans do, offer coffee, or you know, something, or, you know, or a bottle of water. I don't have bottles of water in my house. And I don't know, that always seems awkward. I'm gonna offer them those sorts of things. I don't know. I just awkward. Just a bunch of awkwardness. Let's continue being awkward in the morning. And awkwardness. So yeah, it was strange. And I find that to be a very strange thing to offer people tea, strangers, in your own home. People said offer them coffee. It takes me like half an hour to make a coffee. I do it the old school way. So, you know, I don't have a coffee maker. So that wouldn't happen. Anyway, I left him to his own devices, and I just awkwardly shuffled around my house for 2.5 hours, 3 hours, and that was what came of that. Beef said he was in a similar situation earlier, and he just went outside and said he had to do yard work, and just proceeded to stand outside and stare at his lawn for however long the guy was there doing work. Just a very strange thing. Some people said I should leave the house and get some errands done. I don't know what kind of crazy utopia you live in, but I'm not going to leave a stranger in my house just randomly while I go off and do something, as you know, as far as there are the thousands of dollars worth of computer equipment and what. Not that I'm saying this guy was going to rob me, but it's still just not, you know. And then what happens when he leaves? Does he have to wait for you to come home so you can lock up? You know, that doesn't seem like the thing to do. Why would that be a thing anybody would do? So yeah, that happened. It resolved itself. The things are fixed. Obviously, the root problem of a poorly designed roof is not fixed. But I don't know. That's too much of my concern at the moment. I'm looking to get out of this place and move. So it's gonna be the next guy's problem. Sorry. Don't tell anybody. Shh. Be cool. So yeah. That is what happened today, and that is why this episode, it's almost 4 p.m. This is the time I would like to be releasing an episode of Far Lands or Bust. And also I wanted to do a bunch of other recording. I'm out of Call of Duty videos. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. I missed, I'd scheduled with Good's doing all of the Mindcrack UHC monument builds on the server, and I was set up to do a build that build my statue with him, but missed that, because, like I said, I thought they were just coming in to take a look and do an estimate of the damage, but no, they were doing the entire work. But, yeah. So things might be a little bit subprime in the next few days here on the Far Lands of Us channel, KurtJMac channel, so be patient. I had a very terrifying social anxiety experience I have to get over and get on with my life. So anyway, what do you do when you have a contractor or person over, you know, like somebody installing carpets or a plumber, like, you know, stuff like that I do myself. I recently fixed the kitchen faucet was leaking, so I had to get a little stupid kit of little rubber O-rings to replace, and, you know, little stuff like that I do. And honestly, if I did own the place, own the structure, the building, I probably would have looked up how to do this fix myself and gone out and just done it myself, if not for the fact that maybe saves a little bit of money. In this case, it wouldn't have, because the association's paying for it, but also just for the sheer possibility of avoiding some sort of awkward human contact as I experienced today. So how do you people dealing with strangers in your home? And it's especially awkward when it's just one person. If it was like a team of people, like 2 people doing the work, they could have their teamwork and they could talk and do whatever, and I'm fine on my own. But when it's just me, myself, and one other person, I almost feel like there's some strange obligation to entertain them or to be friendly to them. I mean, I wasn't like a jerk or anything like that. I asked a few questions about, what about this? What did you do here? What is this process? And then what do I need to do or after this? And I'm interested in what was happening, and I was cordial and inviting, but I didn't learn anything about the guy or anything. So, Wolfie agrees with that tactic. There's a bunch of cactuses down there, so I'll go this way. Indeed. And speaking of me asking you questions, you guys have been asking me questions in the comments of donations to Child's Play charity at FrontlinesOfBus.com. So let me answer some of those right now. Ulrich from Denmark. That is not an accent at all that I think I would associate with Denmark. But regardless, asks... Hold on, let me make a boat here. Thank you. Oh, let me drop all my wood. I remember you talking about eating pizza and drinking scotch. What do you eat for your other meals? You mean there's supposed to be other meals? Health. What is the typical KurtJMac everyday diet recommended for bustling Farlanders? I see what you did there, even if accidentally. Bustling Farlanders? Bust Farlands or bustling? Well done, sir. I applaud across the side of my face because my other hand is occupied pushing a W key on a keyboard. But when did I talk about eating pizza and scotch? Oh, sorry, Wolfie. Oh, well, that I guess worked out for everybody. I hit shift. I've been playing too much modern Minecraft on the Mindcrack server. Oh, no, go away. I want the compass. There we go. Woof. Yeah, I don't eat that much pizza anymore simply because I have to be gluten-free now, and gluten-free pizza is, first of all, hard to come by, but also expensive. Used to be you could get like 2 cardboard pizzas, frozen pizzas. Cardboard pizzas is another word we call them, because they taste like cardboard. Also, they are delivered on it for like, $8 on sale or something like that at a grocery store. But like the gluten-free pizza is like $9 for one, and they're normally about half the size of your normal pizza because they don't. The gluten-free crust does not have the structural integrity of the wheat-based crust. So yeah, not so much on the pizza anymore. Scotch, kind of slowing down on the scotch stuff as well. Not too much on the drink-a-loos lately. But what is the typical everyday diet? Quite boring, because I normally keep it pretty much the same. And I think I've talked about this before, but right now, the everyday diet for the old KurtJMac is in the morning, I have my coffee, obviously. I mentioned that. It's about 2.5 cups, I'd say. Like 8-ounce mugs of coffee. Your very high quality pour over local Chicago roasters do the coffee. I used to do oatmeal a lot, but again, even though oats in general aren't technically supposed to have gluten, they often get cross-contaminated because they're grown in the same fields with wheat and whatnot. But I used to do oatmeal a lot, but now I'm on to cereal. Gluten-free cereal is actually surprisingly easy to find. A lot of the Chex, the rice Chex, cinnamon rice checks, and those things are all gluten-free, and there's also store brands that are gluten-free. And instead of dairy milk, I've gotten an almond milk kick, so cereal and milk. If I get the plain cereal, like the rice checks or corn checks or whatever, I'll chop up some strawberries, perhaps some blueberries if I have them on hand. I've recently found dried cranberries is an interesting thing you can get to put in your cereals. So yeah, I'll have cereal, and I'm on bagels. Gluten-free bagels are actually pretty decent. I've tried the gluten-free English muffin, and that is suboptimal for breakfast food at best. So the gluten-free bagels, and I'll normally just have half a bagel. No need to go crazy with the calories. So half a bagel, plain cream cheese, it's gluten-free. So that literally is what I'll eat every morning for breakfast. Every once in a while, I'll replace the cereal with scrambled eggs. If I want to mix things up again, I'll have a half a bagel with some scrambled eggs. But very rarely does it stray from that. Lunch is normally a sandwich, again, on the gluten-free bread. Ham or turkey with a tomato, mayo, mustard, cheese, and lettuce. And then I will normally have chips, your Lay's potato chips. The plain Lay's potato chips are gluten-free. Also, Fritos are gluten-free, so those are my go-to chip choices. That's every day. That's pretty much every day is a sandwich, and of varying descriptions, and chips, and drink water or iced tea if I have it. And dinner. Dinner is the one meal where I have variety. I must sound like the most boring Caucasian middle-class American in the world. And it wouldn't be incorrect. All right, let's actually build our elevated hidey hole off to the side here. And I'll tell you about my glorious dinner varieties in the morning. And boredom with your foodness. But yeah, I think a lot of that stems down to, I mentioned half a dozen or so episodes ago, a dozen episodes ago, about kind of taking more of an approach to food as instead of food, food, not treating food as entertainment, but as fuel. So that's kind of, I make a mean gluten-free sandwich, but, excuse me, speaking of which, it's coming back up for more. But I don't go nuts with the various foods. I don't go out for breakfast or lunch really ever. And oh god, that's a creeper. Gotta go. Not the time to be in your inventory, Kurt. Oh, he's tracking. He's tracking. Wolfie, on the other hand, is not tracking very well. All right. I think we're good. I meant to turn that wood into planks, but good thing I cut that out of the corner of my mind. My eye. That would have been a disaster of the highest proportions. I don't know. What is that voice I've been doing? I don't know where I got that. I've just started doing that, and I don't know why. But anyway, dinner I'll mix up. Could be anything. Spaghetti and meatballs. Tacos, which I had the taco tragedy story a little bit ago, accidentally not having gluten-free taco mix, but being beyond the point of no return after I had added it to the meat I just grilled up, or whatevered up. There were some gluten-free hamburger buns on sale, so I made some hamburgers for a few days on the skillet, which worked out all right. Tacos, stir fry is just an easy, stupid thing to do. I've got a big wok thingy that I just light up and throw a bunch of peppers and chicken, or sometimes I'll have shrimp if I'm feeling crazy. And carrots and broccoli and white rice and blah 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 blah. Yeah, I've got some standard go-tos for dinner as well. But yeah, that's pretty much the KurtJMac diet. not too much craziness going on there. When I was in another thing I enjoyed about Oregon and the Portland area is they have wholly embraced the gluten-free, healthy lifestyle. Well, no, wait, those are not necessarily inclusive of each other. But a lot of restaurants, and I think I'm pretty positive it's because of the fad of gluten-free, and I can come out and say Portland is a gigantic hub of hipsters, a hipster hub, if you will, and I just did. And you got a lot of the vegan, gluten-free sort of stuff, which is fine. That benefits me just fine and dandy. But yeah, there were a lot of places that had gluten-free burgers, and the saving grace was all the breakfast. If going out for breakfast, finding gluten-free breakfast is a difficult thing, but yeah, a lot of places had gluten-free toasts with breakfast that you could get, and like they were actually very mindful of like, okay, we do this in a separate toaster or in a separate environment, so there's no cross-contamination. There was a good place that had pizza. It was actually one of the best gluten-free pizzas. Lou Malnati's here in Chicago does gluten-free pizza crust. The crust itself is kind of, it's okay, but it's good because they have their particular toppings and the sauce. It's good to get that taste. It's good to get that taste of the pizza and the spicy meatballs. But this other place in Oregon, it was in Salmon River, or White Salmon River. Is that what it's called? Something like that. Around, I stayed in that town before doing the whitewater rafting. It was like a brand new pizza place. The guys, like, they just opened like a week before I went there. And yeah, they had gluten-free pizza. It was excellent. Very excellent indeed. So yeah, there's a lot of cool places to eat out there. But yeah, I digress. So that Ulrich from Denmark is the typical KurtJMac diet. I really don't eat that much quantity-wise, so, be healthy, you fools, be healthy. So yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. Let's see, where else are we looking at here for questions? Burgasms, you may be familiar with. Frequent name here on the YouTubes and Far Lands of Bust a long time, but he asks with his donation, yet another donation, thank you very much. Do you watch where you're walking, Kurt? In reference to last episode when I fell into a hole, a very deep hole. No, apparently not. I've gotta start doing that more often. But for serious, this question is, have you ever done a multi-day hike / bushwalk? I suppose bushwalk is what they call it in Australia or something. With a backpack, with a tent and food and all that? If so, where'd you go? And if not, would you, if you could? No, never done camping, I suppose is what we could call it here in the States. We would just refer to that as a camping experience, or a multi-day hike. No, I've never done that. Never went camping. I mean, the most I do are like day hikes. I'll have a backpack and hiking boots and stuff like that, and maybe if I'm out long enough, I'll pack some food or whatever. But basically, I return within the same day that I leave on the hike, and that's what I did in the Grand Canyon and hiking around Oregon and stuff like that. But never been on a multi-day hike or anything like that. Would I want to? Yes, although not by myself. I would probably want to go with somebody or a group of people who are experienced in such things as these, because I feel like I would end up in one of those stories about a person having to be rescued by like the mountain guard for getting lost on a trail or something like that, or attacked by a bear or something. And I've seen those sort of things. I mean, there's a lot in like the Southwest and the West. There's a lot of these horseback riding things that are like multi-day horseback riding, where you horseback ride and kind of like hiking, and then you set up tent and then almost like a cowboy experience, I suppose. I don't know if I would like the horseback aspect of that. There's probably hiking excursions and things. I mean, there is as part of that whitewater rafting thing. There was this multi-day whitewater rafting trips where you do rafting, I suppose, and then you camp out and then do more rafting the next day, I guess, or kayaking, or I'm not sure specifically what. If I would want to, I mean, that's one of the things in the Grand Canyon. They basically tell you you can't reach the bottom of the Grand Canyon, the river, in one day and back. People try that a lot, and then those are the stories of people who need to be rescued by a helicopter, or they end up dying of hypothermia because they get trapped down there and exhausted and on the bottom of the Grand Canyon, because the Grand Canyon is 10 miles from side to side and 1 mile vertically down. So to reach that, you have to not only walk 5 miles, 10 miles total there and back, but also 1 mile downwards and 1 mile back up, so that's kind of a strenuous thing. I'm sure it's been done, and if you're experienced and whatnot, but they say it's normally the young, cocky guys just out of college or whatever who say, "Oh, I can do that, no problem," and then they end up dying. Laugh at their death. No, but I would like to do that in the Grand Canyon. Die. No, well, I would like to do. You can do a hike to hike all the way down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon. Set up camp. I mean, they also have a cabin down there, it's almost like a hostel, I suppose, where it's just a very rustic building where there's beds, or you could get a permit to camp at the base of the Grand Canyon, I suppose. But I would, like I said, I'd want to go with some sort of experienced group, or be surrounded by some people who know exactly what they're doing. That would be super helpful. But yeah, I do like the outdoors and the idea. It is kind of, if you look at my interest in space and science. Look at astronauts up at the International Space Station. That's like the ultimate camp out. They get all the way up there, and they basically have their little individual sleeping bags that they're floating from, and they do have like a little bit of a individual room that they can. It's this little like pod, almost, is basically what it is. And they get a lot of work done and stuff like that, but that's survivalism at its best. And obviously the moon landings, where they stayed multiple days, the LEM was their kind of camp, their tent, I suppose. They worked during the day and then went back into the LEM and slept at night, which I wonder how that works. Because, in space, yeah, sure, you tie yourself up in your little floating sleeping bag that's tethered to the wall, but on the moon, you do have to lay down because there's gravity, but there's only 1/10 or 7th the gravity or whatever it is. If I kind of shift around a lot when I sleep. If I shift around, do I accidentally launch myself off the ground? These are questions that we need to be asking. These few men remaining who have been to the moon. But anyway, speaking of camp... Oh, yep. Hi, Wolfie. Speaking of camp, let's set up our... I'm going to accidentally hit you. There we go. Wolf, our camp for the end of this episode 361 of Far Lands or Bust. I do appreciate all of those questions and everybody who helped keep me somewhat moderately entertained throughout my harrowing experience of dealing with not knowing what to do with myself while a contractor was working in my house. On Twitter, you kept me entertained and at least allowed me to be able to fake to this person that I was busy and or keeping myself occupied, and I was not at all freaking out about this strange social experience I was having, and awkwardness and strangeness and overall discomfort that I was feeling at the time. So I appreciate that. There'll be more opportunities like that in the future, I'm sure. If you want to, you can help out Child's Play Charity by donating, like I said, at farlandsbus.com. Much appreciated. Everybody who's done so thus far. Ask a question in that comment box when you do, and I could answer it here on Far Lands or Bust. So, until the next awkward story in Farlands or Busts, thanks so much for watching. My name is Kurt. I will see you next time.